What's going on, people? How y'all doing? Welcome back to another edition of Collect All Monsters, another supplemental. I missed you guys, because I know I have not been on the channel for the past couple months due to Father's Day in June, G-Fast a couple weeks ago. So I've been really kind of absent of the show, but I'm glad to be back. It's so good to be back here on Collect All Monsters. And today we are having a very, 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 very special stream. I'm going to reveal the awesome newest kit from Galloping Ghost Kaiju Kobo. You know, the awesome model kit studio that I've been showcasing a lot of their Kaiju model kits on the show for the past probably several months, And I'm going to unveil. If you were at G-Fest, you saw it. But if you weren't at G-Fest, you get to see the grand reveal of their upcoming resin model kit of Godzilla 1965, or the Daisenso Goji, from its epic appearance from Godzilla vs. Monster Zero. Now, mind you, this was a test print of the kit, but basically what you're about to see is what you're going to be getting once the kit becomes available, which hopefully will be real soon. If I had to guess, it probably will be before the end of the year. But we'll get to that, more about that when I do showcase the kit. But I'm not here by myself. I had to have couple of my closest friends here on Collect All Monsters help me with this grand reveal. So let me first introduce, of course, our main man down in Southern California, photographer extraordinaire, model kit extraordinaire, which is why he's here. I want to get his impression of this kit. But you know him, you love him, the one and only David Arab.co. David, come on in. Where you at?
What's up, Leslie? Thank you so much for including me in this stream. I'm very excited to see this kit and hear all about it and possibly pick one up for myself.
Oh, you're going to.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm
to.
waiting. Persuade me. So, yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
No problem, no problem. And, of course, last and certainly but not least, I want to have this guy on the show. Again, I call him the Sixth Power Ranger when it comes to Collect All Monsters. He's the Green Ranger, excuse me. He's our resident Ifukube, and our great producer behind the scenes of Collect All Monsters. But we love having him on the show as much as we can. The one and the only Jonathan Portman. How you doing, JP?
What's up, everybody? How's it going? I am very happy to be here. Let's just move you up here, David. There we go.
Oh, okay.
I am very happy to be here with you guys. Thank you, Leslie, for having me on. I'm very excited for you to reveal this kit because I remember we had a live stream a few months ago and you showed an early mock-up design of this kit on the stream and exclusively. Right. And we were all like, whoa, okay, I can't wait to see this thing in person. And we're here. So couldn't be more excited to kick this off.
And this is so great to have you both here because I know, especially David, I know that y'all are huge fans of Godzilla vs. Monster Zero. And of course, this will not be the first time and probably the only time that we'll cover that awesome film on this show this year, since it does celebrate its 60th anniversary come December. So we got a few more shows planned for Monster Zero or whatever. And you know what? This will kick off really like a month-long string of shows for the kaiju community. You got San Diego Comic-Con going down in California. You got right now.
2 hours away from me. I'm very upset. Jonathan too.
Yeah.
You got Summer Wonder Fest going down in Japan, which more likely we will get pictures and coverage of that event probably in a handful of hours, right?
Probably.
And of course, you got a couple more streams I'm going to plug for the tail end of the video between on the 2nd and August 9th. And of course, the following weekend on August 16th, we're going to have our monthly episode of Collect All Monsters. So basically for the next month, we're going to be hitting you up with some great kaiju content for the foreseeable future. So again, thank you so much for your kind attention to being here. Really do appreciate it. So before we go into the grand reveal of the awesome kit from Galloping Ghost Kaiji Kopo of the 1965 Godzilla, we're going to talk about the movie just a little bit, just a mild discussion of the movie, because again, we're going to go into deeper territory with a deep dive with Monster Zero, I'm sure, before the year is out. But we'll give you like a little mild discussion of our thoughts of the film and of the Dasenso Goji's suit as a whole. But before we go into all of that, let me ask the first question. Basically, just two questions involving the movie that I want to hear from our awesome co-host here. And of course, everybody in the chat, you want to welcome to put your answer in the chat too. You know, we love the interaction. We really do. But first and foremost, this movie has so many different awesome titles.
Yes, it does.
Kaiju Dasenso, Monster Zero, Invasion of Astro Monster, Godzilla versus Monster Zero, Great Monster War. I gotta ask, what do you refer to this movie as when you either talking about it with conversation with people on Facebook or just in general? David, what do you say?
Wow. Again with the questions. Okay. So, of course, you all know that I grew up watching these movies, and my very first one happened to be Monster Zero. I saw the Titra dub, the classic dub, when I was a kid, and I'm gonna have to go with Monster Zero because it's my first. That's how I first referred to this movie, and I guess nowadays I kind of interchange that with the very groovy sounding Daisenso Goji. I love the way that sounds. I love saying it, but I'm gonna have to go. If I had to pick one, it's gonna be Monster Zero because that's how I was introduced to this amazing film.
What about you, Jonathan?
Awesome. You know, I'm with David because, when I was a kid, I grew up on Godzilla versus Monster Zero. And I do love the aesthetic of the versus titles in organization with like the rest of the franchise. So I love the symmetry there and I love the aesthetic of that. And I just love it's very nostalgic for me as well, right? And one of the collectibles that I'm going to show off has that title in it. So I have to go with Monster Zero as well.
And
So
another thing, if I may, it also the American distributor, whoever decided to call it Monster Zero, it was kind of brilliant because for the longest time we didn't know what Monster Zero was. Like again, I can't even say that because it was the first time I ever saw a Godzilla film. But imagine knowing the series and being like, wait a minute, what is Monster Zero? What is it? And
yeah.
when it's revealed, we all kind of knew when we saw that lightning, that's not some ordinary lightning up there on Planet X. And also, you know, everything is numbered here and the monster is zero. So got to go with it.
And that is a cool aesthetic of it too. Like it rings in with the dub and with the dialogue. Really, I mean, Monster 01, 02. It's perfect, right?
Yes,
Yes, it is.
I think so.
Yes, it is.
How about you, Leslie? What are you calling it these days? Or
That's the thing. I wasn't aware of the Invasion of Astro Monster title until I got real older.
Me too. Much
Because
later.
again, my first exposure to this film was Godzilla versus Monster Zero, which is an epic title by itself, right? Then I saw a dub where it was just called just Monster Zero, and it just depends, like, because I kind of flip flops, kind of like King Ghidorah and King Ghidorah. There are times I say King Ghidorah, there are times I say King Ghidorah, but if you had to pin me down, I would have to say my favorite title is Godzilla versus Monster Zero. And
Amen.
I know Rodan, don't feel slighted. You're still important to the film. But yeah, that's the title that I normally associate myself with. Again, it just depends. It just depends because I love Invasion of Astro Monster. That is the epic title too.
It is too, yeah.
No, I like that title, but it's not one that's I knew growing.
Right.
It's not. It's a new, just like you, Leslie. It's new-ish to me. Like when I found out as a young adult,
right?
That there was actually called this too.
Yeah. So for me, it's Godzilla versus Monster Zero. Matter of fact, let me splice in one more question before I get to the last question for the movie. Where does this movie rank? Does this movie now, Dave? I already know where it ranks, but does it rank in your top 10 of favorite Godzilla films?
Hell yeah, it's in my top 3. It's my top 3.
Okay.
It's in the top 3. It's just, and I'm sure we'll go into it much deeper when we do our anniversary stream. We've talked about it a lot before. It's a perfect film. It's just so much fun and everything comes together. And I think what makes it so great is the cast all works so well together. And it's kind of rare and amazing when you watch a Japanese monster tokusatsu film where when the monsters aren't on screen, we are still engaged with the characters. That to me is the perfect recipe for an amazing film. I totally like was just as engaged with the whole thing, you know, the lady guard alarm and the whole thing with the dynamic with brother and sister and the, you know, astronaut Fuji, you know, just really everything comes together. And the score, Jonathan, I'm sure you'll talk about the score. Score is phenomenal. And
Yeah.
the only thing I think that this much more so than Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, this is where Godzilla has a turning point. They anthropomorphize Godzilla and Rodan like really for the first time in this movie. A little bit in Ghidorah towards the end, but you know, Godzilla is definitely has developed like a definite personality. He's not just a, you know, a force of nature or an evil monster or a rampaging dinosaur. He has a personality, and yeah, so it's up there. It's top 3. It's just fun. I never get bored of watching it. It's one of my go-tos. And let me add before I pass it over to Jonathan, I enjoy watching the dub version because it's so nostalgic and they
I
did
prefer
such
the
a
dub
good job.
version.
Yeah, so I think if you put a gun to my head and said you can only watch one of these forever and never see the other version again, it would have to be the American dub.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the lady that says, look out the window. That's way over the top. And I think
That's
yeah. No, well, that too. But when she screams and sees the flying saucer out the window, you know, that one is like, okie dokie.
Oh,
But yeah, top 3, definitely love it. And Jonathan, how about you?
you know, so is the question top 3 or top 5 or what? Top 10?
You said top 10, but I just said it's in my top 3.
Top 10.
Okay. Top 10. Ooh, that makes it a lot easier because but I will say it is definitely in my top 5. And you know, Kyle, we had this discussion on the show last month when we were talking about when it was his topic to talk about Monster Zero. And he said it perfectly. And I never really thought about it until now. Although all 3 of us totally say that Mothra vs. Godzilla is our favorite Godzilla film. And we think it's where it all came together. I do agree with Kyle that Invasion of Astro Monster or Godzilla vs. Monster Zero is where it truly coalesced. Like, it is the perfect mix of action, romance, intrigue, sci-fi, fantasy, like this horror in there. It's a really great mix of all different like subgenres mixed into one, and it really does create the perfect film. Because then after 65, you get into the Jun Fukuda era a little bit, and then we get back with Destroy All Monsters, but it's still not the same. Like, it doesn't hit the same as Invasion does. Everything about that film, right? It is borderline perfect. And I will say I agree with you guys as well. I prefer the dub. And it's really just because of one simple thing. Nick Adams. His voice is present, full through.
That's right.
We don't have it dubbed over, which is what happened in the Japanese version. And even I don't know about the international version. I'm not really familiar.
I've never seen it.
If there was that one.
Never seen it.
So, but the dub, the OG dub that we all grew up with, you know, that is my preferred watching experience. You know, even David, you know, with the look out the window.
That's right. That's
like,
right.
It's like, is she okay? Like, are you okay? Somebody get her a defibrillator or something.
Yeah, get her something. No, totally agree.
A Xanax
totally
or
agree.
something. Jeez, she's stressed out. But no, but I totally agree. And the score, my goodness, The Great Monster March is one of the greatest pieces of all time, taken from an original piece and fused into a brand new piece that has become synonymous with the series and is just as, if not more, just as popular as Godzilla's theme or the military theme originally. It is now out there in that same vein. Like, you hear it, it was in Violante. You know, it's always returning in some form of fashion, as much as the Godzilla theme in some ways. So, I mean, a great overall. And this 8-cycle light ray, it's a chef's kiss in terms of like a vehicle, you know, they've come up with. The Toho science. that we all know and love.
Toho pseudoscience, you gotta
Toho
love it.
pseudoscience.
And
It's
and
a great
Jonathan, if
thing.
I may, we all agree on many things because we all definitely love the best Godzilla movie in the whole franchise. That's without say. We've already mentioned that once. I think that the U.S. opening credits are much more effective than the Japanese opening credits.
Yes.
They take that suite,
Yes.
the alien suite, and it's very mysterious, and you see
Creepy.
pictures. I guess the Japanese do too. You see the alien spaceship, you see the P1, you see the base, the lunar base. I mean the NASA
dish.
type, yeah, the dish, and that's a very like mysterious, foreboding sort of like, what are we going to see in this movie? Instead of going right into the epic march,
Yeah.
which is what they have at the beginning. I don't hate it.
I 100% no, I agree with you.
Love
Me too.
the fact that theme is used for the opening credits, and I think even Japanese viewers prefer that opening too, because sometimes we get it right, very few times, but it's the satellite, that's what it's called. Yes, thank you. But that opening, it just gives me chills every time I watch it. Totally gives me chills. Hi, everybody. We've got a lot of people in there
Dude,
today.
and when you hear the gods, and when you hear that, it comes out of nowhere. It's like dun 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 dun. It's like, whoa, okay,
And
I'm on board.
it ebbs and flows. The tempo changes, and it's just so.
It goes seamlessly into
and they
the
use the
P1
theremin.
space.
They use the theremin instrument that they utilized a lot in 50s science fiction films, and it's like outer space, mysterious. Something's going to happen, and
used in
I
too.
Just love it. So, all right, we're talking way too much. Leslie, what do you I know where it is for you too. It's got to be top 3, right?
What's up, Marcellus?
There's Marcellus.
Yes, Marcellus.
Oh yeah, the guy who painted the kit that we're going to showcase real soon. I'm glad you're here, buddy.
Perfect timing.
Here.
Perfect
timing. Yeah. But yeah, Monster Zero is definitely in my top 10. Basically, my top 10 has never really changed.
But what number, Leslie? I know top 10. What number, if you can say?
It's at number.
Oh, are we gonna get a Godzilla roar of approval here? Let's see.
I hope so.
Let's see.
It's in number 8.
That low? Oh, that's kind of low, my friend.
It's still in the top 10.
Okay, all right.
You still get a roar of approval.
The reason why it's towards the latter half. Sorry,
yes,
Godzilla.
Please explain.
The reason why it's towards the latter half is because I prefer Ghidorah. I think Ghidorah is a better movie. Now, I will admit the human story in Monster Zero is better than the human story in Ghidorah, but the monster action is better in Ghidorah. I think y'all will admit that. As great as Monster Zero
I do
is,
admit that. I do admit
the monster action kind of does take a back seat. You know what I'm saying? Which why I have it towards the latter half. But again, it's still in the top 10. It's still in the top 10, but again, we'll cover that once we get into the in-depth movie review. Which again will be coming on Collect All Monsters, but yeah, it's still in the top 10. It's at number 8. And the second question I want to ask y'all.
How about this? So I hate to interrupt you, but look at this, Matt. Probably there's a hybrid cut of the film when someone they combine the dub of Nick Adams with Japanese film. You know what's funny? I was just talking to Kyle about this, and I was talking to Kyle about this the other day. I said, because we were talking about Monster Zero a little bit, and I said, it's a shame we don't have a cut. I would take happily take a cut of Nick Adams' voice infused over the dub at the Japanese version to keep it, and that would be perfect for me. Like,
right, absolutely.
Give me that.
I would be interested to see that, but again, like we all said before, the voice actors are pretty perfect when they dub over the Japanese actors, and it's just so nostalgic to me. And I would like to see that, but I still think my favorite go-to would be the US dub.
The guy that does Tetsui's voice, who dubs Tetsui's voice, is so it hits a certain trigger point in my head. It's like it's so nostalgic. I just hear it from when I was a kid first seeing it. Every time I hear it, I'm like, I gotta watch this dub every single time.
What's a controller?
Oh yeah, well yeah.
You know what? It's funny. I got to bring this up, and I was going to wait to the episode to bring it up, but I got to bring it up now before I ask this last question involving the movie. But that scene where they're all together eating lunch or they're having a drink before Glenn goes off with Namikawa, and and the sister brings in Tetsuo or Tetsui, and basically Takarada says, I don't think that you can make her happy. Basically saying that you're not good enough for my sister. Let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, had that been me, I would have said something along the lines of, because Tetsuya just took it. He just like,
He said, "I know."
he's like, I know.
Yeah.
You know,
With his glasses, I
you
know.
know what
He's
I would
like
have
not
said?
even like, hey, like,
You know what I would have said?
What's that?
When
I can't imagine.
when Takarada says, I don't think that you can make my sister happy. Well, that's not what she said last night. But
Oh!
hey,
Monster Zero After Dark. Okay, there we go.
you know what?
We go.
Did you know your sister can actually? Did you know that your sister can actually scratch the back of her neck with her feet? Did you know that?
Oh man.
Because I would have shut him down. We love Takarada. I get it, but you're not gonna.
He is kind of a jerk in this
He
movie.
was a dick in that movie.
Bit.
Yes, he was.
He was
I'm
dick.
glad
Kind of
you
a
admit
jerk.
that.
He was a
I'm
dick.
glad somebody admit that. He was a
even Glenn is like, even Glenn's like, dude, like he's not
chill
stepping.
out.
He's like, dude,
Glenn's
chill
like,
out,
dude,
bro.
have a glass of water, which we're not short of, and chill out.
yeah.
or whiskey or something.
But
But-
again,
Or sake.
but that's the beauty of Monster Zero, because not only do you have the alien invasion story, you got the kaiju story, but you also have that story about, Tatsui not, talk about making him feel inferior for his sister. You get the tragic romance with Namikawa and Glenn. It's like it's so much going on in that story, which I'll talk about momentarily. But the last question is this: what do you appreciate most about Monster Zero?
Oh man, what do I appreciate most? I have to say, I appreciate the fact that when I was a little boy obsessed with dinosaurs, this was my very first introduction to Godzilla, Rodan, and King Ghidorah. I didn't know who any of them were. I didn't know they existed. And I was just like, this is such a cool thing. And what a place to start, huh? I mean, that's where I started. This is first film I saw in this genre, in this pantheon of films. It's like and when Rodan, when the saucer pulls Rodan from the volcanic rock, I didn't know I was like, what the hell is this? What is that thing? I couldn't tell what he was. He was all curled up and stuff. But it was just like, it made me say, oh my God, is there more of this? I want more. And again, I feel like so lucky to have started at that point. It's a great jumping off point. And I just appreciate it for all that we just said. The music, the cinematography, the story, the characters. I think, Leslie, and I'm gonna try to change your mind. Not change your mind, get it a little higher on your scale, on your ranking. I like Ghidra the three-headed monster a lot, but I think the special effects are very uneven. There's some scenes in that they should just cut them out. They're just not good. I think almost every scene, if not every scene in Monster Zero, is chef's kiss. They really refined the tokusatsu techniques, especially with Ghidra. I mean, Ghidra,
I agree with that.
heads were, in the first film, the three-headed monster, the heads are kind of like out of control. They got that down. They refined the suit just a little bit. And I think that, this was the first time that we got alien invasion in this series, and it was the first and the best. Like every other alien invasion is basically a copy of this in some way. I mean, the Keylocks did it, the cockroaches did it, what do you call it? The green apes did it. It's just, this was the first time this formula was started, and it proved to be very successful because it was also during the time of the space race and the Cold War. And there's a lot of elements of that, and making the effort to have like a United Nations kind of trip with, USA and Japan. I like everything about it. I just love it. It's just so much fun. And again, it's for people who maybe if a non-Godzilla person wanted to see a film, I would probably show them this one, because you get all three and you get enough backstory, and it's just fun to watch when the monsters aren't on screen. And I agree. Someone in the chat said they should be on more. I of course I want more monsters, but it's not necessary, because they got the story and the ensemble cast so right that it didn't really make us say, "Oh my God, bring on the monsters, bring on the monsters." When they came, it was like icing on the cake, you know. So that's it. That's a very long-winded way to say I appreciate this film in a lot of ways. Jonathan, how about you?
That's well said, David.
Thank you.
You know, before I get into mine, I just want to showcase some of the people in the chat and
Oh
their
yeah,
favorite
please.
parts.
Great idea.
So, you know, Godzilla Man 2000, I like the dance. Nathaniel Plummer, Kumi Mizuno, enough said. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with you on that one. Hey, there you go. Oh, Matt Parmley. Okay, so I think mine aligns with Matt's take. The human cast of characters and specifically what I appreciate about this film is Nick Adams, the way he portrayed Glenn, and the way he felt like he was a part of that ecosystem, a part of that world, a part of a friendship and a relationship with these human beings that no one in any other film came close to getting. And he respected the content and the people that were making this thing, and he gave it his all. And
He did not phone it in. Did not phone it in at all.
Looking at a few others right there. But you know, I just really appreciate that human cast of what they did in that film. It really is a colorful group of people, and they all have interesting storylines. Every part of that film is interesting, from the love angle on Glenn to the love angle on Tetsui, and to the love into the friendship of Glenn and Takarada, and just everything about how the human characters are portrayed in that film. I don't think any other film, maybe aside from the Fukuda films and their fun sort of James Bondy sort of relationship way,
yes,
the film captured the essence of that. Maybe Terror of Mechagodzilla with a Honda Godzilla movie. I you know, in the original, of course, obviously, but like in Mothra versus Godzilla. But this one really hit all the notes in a lot of really cool ways.
Absolutely.
Well, Matt said very wisely, and I forgot to mention this. This is the first time that we really see stock footage. It's not a lot of stock footage, but there is some. The Eagle Eyes will point it out when Rodan, you know, descends onto the department store building. That's a stock footage. When Newkirk Motors, that's stock footage from Mothra. It's not
Rodan.
Nearly. Not nearly as blatant as some of the later films. But again, I would like it not to be there.
But it fits. It oddly fits in the chaos of the moment. They really made certain shots work that kind of fed. It wasn't as disjointed as, like, you know, Gigan, where it's like night and day are completely. It's crazy.
That's a whole other thing. Like, but it does exist, and you're absolutely right, Matt, that it's a very small flaw, and that's one flaw that's absolutely true. It's it even though that scene where Rodan, you know, crushes the thank you Nathaniel, crushes the department store building, that I don't care, I want to see it again. That's great. But it's
one
very, very, very sad that they utilize that as a crutch so much.
You
know, I mean, look at Megalon, for example. Megalon uses stock footage of stock footage.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so Gigan uses the stock footage, and then Megalon uses the stock footage from Gigan. It's like
it's a never-ending.
It's a never-ending cycle. And again, we understand that you know, Toho was in, you know, dire, you know, finances by that time, but it's
not as egregious, I would say. It's there, and we don't want it to be there, but it's not as egregious.
Thank you, Matt, for pointing that out, because that is 100%. Absolutely something.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. How about you?
I gotta say, Ray 2D2, I forgot to put his comment down. Ghidra spouting lightning on the planet's surface just creeped me out as a kid.
Oh, it's terrifying.
100%.
It's terrifying. And and you know, the whole like reveal on Planet X when these astronaut Fuji step into the cylinder, I'm like, wow, what the hell's going on here? And that set when he's following the light, that's
so good.
You know, I think George Lucas even took that, because that looks like on the Death Star where the prisons were, where Princess Leia was imprisoned. It resembles that. And I know some modern successful directors admit it, but these films did influence a lot 100%. Of creators now, and the one like Del Toro, like he's another one, and even Steven Spielberg too. But they just got everything right in this movie, I think, except for the stock footage.
Yeah.
How about you, Leslie? What do you think? What do you appreciate about it?
What I appreciate the most has kind of like changed over the years, because at first, when I first watched it, because again, I watched Geezer Three-Headed Monster before I watched this one.
So you saw that before? That makes sense.
Yeah, I saw Geezer before, so I saw Monster Zero afterwards, and I kind of like knew around that time that what movies follow this movie, and I kind of like got the grasp of it. As a matter of fact, the first cut I saw of the movie didn't really have the Planet X fight, like the scene where Tetsui follows
really?
Namikawa. Yeah, where Tetsui follows Namikawa to the island and he gets trapped. Yeah, that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but the cut I saw after that happens, it immediately cuts to the conference with the astronauts coming in with the tape. So it basically just cut out the entirety of the Planet X fight. So I thought the movie was a Terror Mechagodzilla thing, where everything was backloaded towards the third act. But many years later, I saw the uncut version when it had the Planet X fight, even though it was like a minute and a half, but it was still a minute and a half of awesomeness. But what I appreciate most about this movie now is the human story.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was vocal back in 2021, when Godzilla vs. Kong came out, and everybody was going gaga over it, yeah, and I love the MonsterVerse, y'all know that, but I was really one of the vocal minority that was saying, yeah, the movie is cool, but the human story of why Kong and Godzilla are fighting that movie just doesn't measure up in my opinion. And I got so much crap and flack for that. And the first thing they said was, well, we don't go to the movies, to these movies to see the human story. We go to see the monsters and Godzilla. And I've always pointed to this movie and Mothra vs. Godzilla. And there's some other ones out there too.
The original 54.
That the human story in these movies is a vital component.
Absolutely.
It's kind of hard to be invested what Godzilla is doing if you don't care the people he put in harm's way. Now, if you want to see Godzilla do Godzilla stuff, beat monsters and terrorize the city, and you want constant footage of that, that's what YouTube is for. But that's what YouTube is for. But in my opinion, like even that, if you see that constantly 24 hours a day, as special as Godzilla is, at some point that would get old. So you need these movies to have great human stories, if not good human stories, to counteract the monster action. And again, let me pose this question. If a Godzilla film does not have an engaging human story, does -1 win an Oscar?
Hell no. Of course not.
So again,
I mean, okay. So, it won an Oscar for special effects. So I guess that there is a possibility. But I think if the Academy just went in there and they saw like just melee,
it wouldn't have been taken
fighting,
seriously.
It would not have been taking a good point, John, and not taking it seriously. And everything you said, Leslie, has been missing from modern Godzilla films. Even like the Heisei and the Millennium series, to some degree, that component has been missing. GMK is an exception. That's a great human cast. But -1, the reason it's so successful and so popular in Japan and in America is because that movie, and I tell people who aren't Godzilla fans, it's a fantastic period movie in Japan that just happens to have Godzilla in it.
That's exactly right.
And I would always like to see as much monster action as I can, but not at the expense of cutting out character building, because if Godzilla is destroying these people's lives, if we don't care about the people, it's not going to be nearly as impactful. There's nothing at stake. It's like, okay, just kill them, like honestly. And again, I don't like to beat up the MonsterVerse, but in Godzilla versus Kong, it's like, I didn't care if anybody lived or died. I really didn't care. I did not care. And again, another thing they got wrong, they had, Bryan Cranston in 2015 and Juliette Binoche. Juliette Binoche is a fantastic actress. She had like 2 lines, and Bryan Cranston was gone in the first third of the movie.
This is a really good point by Matt. I mean, I agree. The very best Godzilla films have meaningful human stories.
Absolutely, Matt. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if you truly look at it, the ones who are, even if it's one character that's engaging enough and you relate to that character enough to follow along what's happening, it matters. I gotta say, in terms of the MonsterVerse, there's aspects of King of the Monsters that I like a lot. I love the music by Bear McCreary. I like some of the set pieces, but I cannot for the life of me sit through that whole movie by itself. I have to skip. because I just can't take it. And it's this, and I never do this. I've never done this with any of the Japanese films, namely the ones we're talking about, the ones with these like Mothra vs. Godzilla, front to back. Could watch it like over and over again. Invasion of Master Monster, front to back. Even Destroy All Monsters has an interesting like cast of human characters to me.
I think so. Maybe some people don't, but I definitely think so.
And you even have like even the sillier ones in the 70s, the more comic booky ones, like Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. I enjoy those characters. They have a fun story they go on.
Yeah, that's true.
There's like, you know, there's the intriguing, like I'm getting off on a little tangent, but that comment right there, it's you can't ignore in some ways. In a lot of ways, it's very true.
It is. And again, I got a lot of flack for that. And again, I've always pointed to Monster Zero as one of the strongest examples in the franchise why a human story is very vital. In fact, you can argue that really that film, the human alien story, carries the movie more so than the monster action, because the monster action is really tame in comparison to Ghidorah the three-headed monster. You know, but like I mentioned, you know, you have the Namikawa and Glenn romance. You got the whole brother and sister and Tetsui storyline. You got the alien invasion. You got the kaiju, and all that blends together before a monster even sets foot on the screen. So it's really, really vital. But that is the one thing I've always appreciated about this film. That again, that the human stories, especially in this one, is really, really good. And again, even though I prefer Ghidorah as the better movie, Ghidorah movie, I've always argued that Monster Zero has the better human story, and it's probably one of the best ones in the entirety of the franchise, and there's no question about that. But again, at some point, we will definitely dive into Monster Zero, because I know I want to get Kyle involved and John and who else is on the show. But we'll definitely dive into it at a later date. Again, we got at least two more show ideas. One devoted towards a deep dive into Monster Zero as a movie, and I want to do another supplemental where we talk about more collectibles of the Daisenso Goji, because there's plenty more out there outside of what there's a lot out there aside from the one I'm about to reveal. But thanks, David and Jonathan, everybody in the chat, for chiming in on the movie portion of the discussion. Now, let's go into the kit portion of the discussion. Now, again, this is from Galloping Ghost, Kaiju Kobo, courtesy of the awesome Dot Mac. I'm sure you heard his name many times on the channel before, because I've been really, really, really heavy into him. But yeah, he wanted to do something involving Godzilla 1965. And as a matter of fact, before we go into to show more of the kits or whatever, let's talk about the 65 suit as a whole. Here you see some images of the awesome Daisenso Goji suit. So point blank, David, what is your favorite moment from Invasion of Astro Monster involving this Godzilla suit?
Oh wow. Involving this Godzilla suit. I think it has to be the battle on Planet X. That first battle where Godzilla has been suspended in the bubble, and when he wakes up from that and he just says, "Oh my God, Ghidorah's here again. What am I going to do?" I love that battle. It's just three monsters battling it out. The special effects are pretty tight. That beautiful background of Jupiter and the rocky surface of Planet X, it's just the perfect place for the first battle. And again, the when Godzilla is victorious and he does the Shie or the dance or whatever you want to call it, I like it. I think it's fun, and I think it definitely added to the heroic aspect of what they just did. And again, here's another example of why I like the US version better, because in the Japanese version, if you guys know this, there's no sound effect when Godzilla hits the ground. It's just silent. But there's a clear when he jumps up and down in the US version. And I know, having done some research about this film, that that was a big sort of like place where Honda and Tsuburaya did not see eye to eye. Like Ishiro Honda did not want that to happen, and that was all Tsuburaya's idea. And you know how much clout Subaraya had. You know, if you watched our last show about Subaraya, you know, we
Major
talked
clout.
about that major clout. And so he basically won over. But even after it was printed and made into the film, it's been said that Honda was not stoked about that moment, because that was the turning point for him and for many other people, where Godzilla is no longer what he used to represent. He strays away from his nuclear, atomic, you know, horrific
Roots.
roots to be more of a hero of Earth. This is the first time he's a straight up hero. Like, if he wasn't mind controlled, he would have been defending Earth, you know. And it happened before, of course, in Ghidra the Three-Headed Monster, but in this film, when he did that victory dance, and then at the end where he's fighting Ghidra and he does the kind of like, you know, the kind of the boxing move, you know, he's trying to do that, but it's anthropomorphizing Godzilla for the first time. And some people love it, some people don't love it. I think it's great. I think it needed to happen. I like that the character evolved with the times. But again, like, I prefer Godzilla as more of a villain, more of an evil presence. But I was not mad at this, and I loved it, and it was great. So the battle on Planet X is my favorite utilization of Godzilla in this film.
How about you, Jonathan?
You know, as much as I love the movie, I got to be straight up, I'm not a huge fan of this iteration of Godzilla. I much prefer the more serious, dark, animalistic, slow brooding Mothra versus Godzilla, the Mosagoji suit. Everything up to that point. When we get to here, it's mostly nostalgic, but I get it. The friendlier look is supposed to be, it's purposeful. Like, we want Godzilla to not be as scary. He's more of a heroic character. So he's got it. And like David said, anthropomorphized. We got to make him look a little more, we got to be able to relate to him as a hero more.
He looks more like a mammal, Jonathan. He looks more mammalian than reptilian in this movie, yes. I think.
Especially with the eyes. I think the eyes are a big tell, and the stance and the body language. But as a suit goes, I love the dorsals always. And I do like the head. I'm not a huge fan of the big eyes, but as far as that goes,
I like those eyes.
Yeah, I just, to me, they're a little, they converge a little googly at times, especially when he's like looking around when he first wakes up. He's like, where am I at? You know? But I mean, that's a picky thing. I overall, it's an okay suit. It's not my favorite by any means, but that's kind of where I sit on it for that. Yeah.
I think Leslie's question though, Jonathan, was what's your favorite utilization of Godzilla in the film? Like,
is that
where does he?
Okay.
I think that was it, right?
Sorry, I thought that was about the suit itself. But.
No, actually, you know what? That's fine. But what is your favorite moment involving the suit?
Yeah. It's funny. It's the moment I was just saying to you guys where, like, he gets up, right? To me, it's like Godzilla. It's always funny when he sort of can defy physics. It's like he was too big, it was too heavy, and like you couldn't just get up in the suit, right? So you had to like sort of reverse the shots. Like, I love it when he snaps back up after he's like looking around like, where am I? After he like gets, he gets his bell rung from the A-cycle light ray, and he snaps up for the first time. That's probably one of my favorite moments. And it's like, and then it snap zooms on everyone. They're like, "Whoa, Godzilla's awake!" And he like looks over.
Let's get out of here.
Like, he looks over and he kicks the rock at
wakes up Ghidra and Rodan.
Wakes up Rodan and Ghidra, and then he's like, "Let's go!
Let's do it."
But that's probably my favorite moment. Yeah. Or I would say like the big animatronic, the big heavy foot they used.
Oh yeah.
But that's not technically the suit. That's just the prop they used to smash down on the.
And I love that. And I saw that prop in Japan at Godzilla's 40th anniversary. They had that prop there. But real quick, Jim Gala asked, "What's the difference between the 65 and the 66 suit?" Basically nothing, just a little wear and tear. I mean, it's pretty much the same suit.
And Matt expanded on that too earlier.
Well, that's he's talking about.
It's more of a specific
Jiras, but Jiras utilizes the head of the 66 and the body of the 64 64 suit, so it's
Yeah.
a
So the
conglomeration.
66.
But
Yeah.
but the actual 65 versus 66 suit, it's essentially the same, Jim. Maybe some little repairs here and there, but as you can see, some people's problem with this Godzilla suit is the way it fits him around the midsection,
The head.
around the torso. It kind of looks like he's wearing pajamas a little bit, like pants. Um,
It was baggy.
It's a little bit baggy. Nakajima couldn't move in it as well as he could in the last two suits because they were more form fitting to him. But yeah, it looks a little more man in suit than some of the other ones. I find it kind of charming, but I can understand how people don't kind of stray away from it.
Absolutely, yeah.
It does look a little like he's wearing pants and suspenders or something. And
Yeah.
but that's the way.
The way it goes.
Yeah. My favorite moment involving the suit, and again, I love this suit. I actually like his look better in Sea Monster before he does the drugs and everything.
Yeah, he looks good in Sea Monster. He looks good in Sea Monster. I like it.
But I love that look more because he looks more pissed off in that movie. I don't know
he
if
looks
they
more angry.
Yeah, I don't know if they changed the brows.
They did something a little bit with the brows. Yeah,
they did something, but he looks
well.
really,
I would
really pissed
I
off.
would be too if I was woken up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I was sleeping, hibernating nicely. You know?
Yeah. So I actually love his look more, but I still enjoy this suit. I really do. My favorite moment from the suit is that moment on the Planet X fight. Because if you notice, like a good chunk of that fight, Godzilla is trying to hide from Ghidorah's gravity beams, which was smart.
Yeah.
But that moment when Rodan drops that boulder on King Ghidorah's head and Ghidorah disoriented for a couple of seconds, Godzilla just flies out of nowhere and bashes himself into Ghidorah. Like, that is my favorite moment involved in the suit.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere. I was like, wow, Godzilla, you can do that? Like, it was funny. And then Ghidorah was like, screw this, I'm out of here. That's my favorite moment. And there's so many great moments involving Godzilla from the movie. If you want to talk about, let's say, the abduction, that's a great moment, or or the clash when all three monsters tumble into the ocean. This is a great suit. And again, what you're about to see from Galloping Ghost, it is awesome. And speaking of Galloping Ghost, Jonathan, let's showcase a few of those kits that I have.
Let's do it.
And of course, this is the awesome, poster of Monster Zero, Invasion of Astro Monster. But of course,
moving briskly along.
And these are several of the Galloping Ghost kits I have. I have a total of pretty much 12 of them.
Wow.
At the time of this recording, like once I found out Dot was doing model kits, he's a model kit enthusiast, right? He got pretty much every single kit known to man. I saw his collection while I was at G-Fest, and David, let me tell you, I
know.
I almost moved in. I ain't gonna lie. I almost got
on that one.
Almost got a couch, and me and myself were gonna move in, and we were gonna just live there for the rest of our lives and all that good stuff. But again, I've been firmly behind a lot of what Doc is doing. Pretty much everything that Doc is doing when it comes to Galloping Ghost. Now, I showed a few model kits on the show, and what you see here is just several of them. Mostly from Final Wars, but you also have like the GMK Baragon, all 30cm figures, mind you. And of course the Godzilla Jr., which I've done a stream on that recently, and I'll probably show it again on the show and tell portion of next month's episode. But yeah, I really enjoyed their sculpts, and he contrasts mostly with Monster Rage, Jake Rebel from Monster Rage, to do the sculpts. I don't think he's done it with every single model kit that they have done. But the sculpts on the monsters from Galloping Ghost, again, they're clean when you put them together, like Marcellus and Greg Betters, who also worked on kits for me from Galloping Ghost. They pretty much say the same thing, that the sculpts are absolutely clean and the parts flow together. And as a model kit builder, David, you can appreciate that, because again, when it comes to model kits, not all model kits, sometimes they're casting or they're molding. Sometimes when they have the individual pieces come to you, sometimes they don't all flow together, where sometimes you have to shave off a little bit of this part and make it flow with another part. But I have never seen that criticism or that complaint when it comes to Galloping Ghosts, which, Dave, I'm sure you will find out when you do a Galloping Ghost at some point.
I'm ready.
But right off the bat, based on what you see here and based on what you remember what I've shown, what do you think is the best model kit sculpt-wise that Galloping Ghost has done thus far?
that's a tough question, but I think for me personally, something a figure and a character that's been missing from the collecting world forever and sadly underrepresented is that Godzillasaurus.
Mm.
That
Oh, okay.
Godzillasaurus, you can see him kind of looming back there. I think that looks like he just walked right out of the jungles on Lagos Island. I mean, that's a tribute. Did Marcellus or Greg do that one? I can't remember.
Greg did that one.
Greg did that one.
When it comes to the kits that are in this photograph,
Yeah.
basically, I don't think Marcellus did any one of these. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Shoot, who did? Mark St. Yang did the Kaiser Ghidorah.
See you later,
Greg.
Nathaniel.
Okay, thanks, Nathaniel, for being here. Mark St. Yang did the Kaiser Ghidorah. Mark St. Yang did Godzilla Jr. in the corner. Actually, Doc Mack did the Kamunga right there.
That's amazing. That's an amazing paint job. My gosh,
it is.
How detailed is that?
Thank you. And Greg did the rest of them. He did like on the other side with Hedra and King Caesar and Baragon. Marcellus did both Rodan and the Anguirus here.
Well, they're all spectacular, but I think just for the accuracy of the sculpt, the realism, I think that Godzillasaurus. Do you have a picture of that, Jonathan? Is the Godzillasaurus there somewhere? That is just like I'd love to take that out in the jungle or in the woods and take a picture of that because it looks just like he did out of
with
the film.
The music.
Yeah, and again, it's a definite like hole in the collecting community that character. Like, there's very few representations of.
It's an interesting question,
Leslie. Oh,
I wouldn't say 8,000, but let's say the kits normally run at least the regular ones, the 30 centimeter ones. They run at least like 275 to 300. Now the Kaiser Ghidorah ran, I'll say around 500.
Yes, Rich, they are. You're right.
Because it's a bigger size kit, you know. But the rest of them, they run like the standard, like 275 to 300. Like no different than what Monster Maker 28 does with their kits, you know, when it comes to pricing. But of course, the bigger size kits, you know, are going to be more expensive. But again, like I said, the sculpts on Galloping Ghost kits are absolutely great. And David, you said your favorite is the Godzillasaurus.
100%.
Jonathan, what about you? If you had to pick one,
I keep looking at it. I think from my perspective, the detail, the paint apps, and the sculpting, that GMK Baragon. It's absolutely incredible.
Say that.
Look at the eyes, just the eyes in general. You can't really see them here, but up close, the eyes mean business. The detail of like the texturing from the head going all the way back, the folds and the back and the muscles and the arms and stuff. I mean, everything about that. I keep looking straight at that one. It's so good.
Leslie, maybe as a companion to this stream, you can post individual shots of these kits in our group.
Yes.
Because I know people would love to see them, including myself, and see the excellent work of Mark, Greg, and Marcellus, of course.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll definitely do that. Because, of course, again, we're going to do another model kit stream at some point. But, yeah, I'll definitely do that. But I'm glad, again, I'm glad that I was able to acquire these from Doc, you know, and I'm glad I was able to have wonderful artists that are not only my best friends, but that have worked with me to get these kits done, you know, outside of Marcellus and Greg, and of course, Mark, and of course, David Dopko has done great stuff for me as well, and I'm sure he will in the future. But again, Galloping Ghost, like, their kits are like that. Again, they have become one of my go-tos when it comes to collecting, because again, X Plus, like what Rich said in the chat, they've been slacking. And model kits, yes, there are a lot more expensive to go down.
Yes, sir.
Collectible wise, because again, in my case, see, I'm not like David or Mark or Marcellus that can get a kit, build it, and have it look exactly how I look in the film. In my case, it's more expensive. I have to pay for the kit. I have to pay to ship the kit to the artist.
Yep.
I got to pay for them to build and paint it. Then I got to pay for them to ship the kit back to me. So it's a lot more involved financial wise to doing model kits. But at the end of the day, there's not too many people that can say they got a 30 centimeter GMK Baragon. There's not too many people that can say they got a 30 centimeter not GMK, but a Kaiser Ghidorah or a 30 centimeter Godzilla Jr. Like, so yeah. I'm building my collection with these cool pieces that not a lot of people have. I mean, I'm sure people will get on board with this soon. That's the purpose of me doing these streams like this and putting more exposure on Galloping Ghost and getting my expertise from David and Jonathan. Just to sell you an idea that yes, Galloping Ghost kits, they are amazing, and you really
They're
should
legit.
go after them. They're legit.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a great thing that you do. And I think
Like Kaiser Ghidra back there. That's wow.
it's great. Our
Wow.
show, you know, we I'm not going to say we need to, but I need to, and Leslie, you're doing it right now. We need to focus more on model kits and kit building, because that's a component of this fandom that doesn't really get as much attention as the Sofubi does.
Absolutely.
And that's not a problem or a complaint. It's just an observation.
Oh, no,
and
sure.
and
Yeah.
I think that, you know, we were talking. Who was I talking to? I forget, someone in the modeling world, and we're due for another modelers summit, like a chat, like deep dive into this current state of model building in our fandom. I think that should be something we could probably do before the end of the year too. I think that would be great. And Leslie, someone in the chat asked about the cost. Now, what Leslie was saying is that's the when it's first released, the first before the aftermarket. The aftermarket, these kids go crazy. Like, you know, Marcellus. Oh, it was Marcellus I was talking to. I asked him, you know, how much he actually paid for his Monster Maker 2866, which I'm lucky enough to have one. But it's definitely not an inexpensive hobby. Even if you can build and paint them, it takes a lot of time. Time is money. It takes a lot of time to make these, you know.
What are these kits made of?
They're made out of
resin, right?
They're all made out of resin.
High quality resin. And resin kits are it's good to hear Leslie give that review, because some resin kits, they have air bubbles, so you have to fill that in. They don't fit right. Like, for example, I love Monster Maker 28. I think that's one of my favorite model companies, but sometimes their pieces don't fit right. From warping or shipping or whatever. When I did the 56 Rodan kit, I had to Dremel and sand those wings to get them in place. And that took me like days and days to get that together. And to know that there's a company out there, Galloping Ghost, obviously, who take pride in making really clean pulls from the molds for the sculpts. That's really important for modelers, because we don't have to spend that extra time repairing things before you even begin to build it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that modelers know what I mean, but it's definitely something that I get motivated when I see these in front of me to do more. I've got so many kits in the queue that I have to build for myself.
Right.
It just gives me inspiration to see these guys knocking it out of the park time after time after time.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. What's your thoughts on this, Leslie?
And that's the thing. And yes, it's kind of hard to get these kits, but if you contact Dot directly, he can definitely hook you up, you know. And this has come from somebody who have, because I'm good friends with Dot now. It wasn't always like that. In the beginning, you know, I had a hard time getting these kits too, but I contacted him and he was able to pull some strings and hook it up. So I would suggest to just hit him up directly, or maybe go to the Galloping Ghost Kaiju Kobo Facebook page and express interest in getting these kits. And Doc will more likely will come through. Like he's really good on coming through for people. If he says he's going to do something, he will do it. So I would suggest, again, hit up Doc directly, or go to the Galloping Ghost Kaiju Kobo Facebook page and see what you want from there. Because again, there are a lot of kits, not a lot of kits, but he's done a good string of kits. Pretty much the entirety of the Final Wars line at 30cm scale. Of course, the GMK Baragon. Of course, the 65 I'm about to show. And, you know, he's not done bringing out more kits. Like, you know, he's got some great monsters that are on their way. I guess I won't get into too much trouble that I will give a little hint here, but one that I know for sure that is coming behind the 65 Godzilla is a certain Okinawa god. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So just do the math on that one.
Leslie, what are your thoughts on this too? I didn't know this was a thing. Actually,
not knowing
I don't
where
really
to
deal
cut
with resin.
Not
I don't
knowing
deal
where
with
to
resin.
cut
Maybe that's something Marcellus could answer. I don't know.
Yeah, not knowing where to cut resin is problematic. Sometimes the instructions are lacking also. That is true. Again, I don't know anything about that because I don't build it.
It's tough, Jim. You really have to. Sometimes you have to just go for it, because there's no instructions, or the instructions are cryptic or in Japanese. And
Google Translate, right?
these all stem from what used to be called garage kits, because there was no model kit companies back when I first started in the hobby. People would make these sculpts and produce them out of their garages in Japan and in the United States. So that's why they're called garage kits.
Good to know.
And
the kits are all super duper clean. Oh, so they come like pretty much as is then.
Resin kits, the problem with resin versus vinyl, a vinyl kit, if you make a mistake, you can easily fix it. But if you glue a vinyl piece and you didn't glue it just right, you can easily take it off and do it. Not easily, but you can do it.
Yeah.
When you do a resin kit, when you glue that in place, and resin, you have to utilize at times pins and also a bond adhesive so they stay together. And if you try to remove that, there's a good possibility you're going to crack the resin in a different spot. It's going to break.
Ouch.
So you really have to I always figure it out and like line it up many times before I actually put the glue on, because
here we go.
You really can't. Oh, how do you guys do eyes? Oh boy, eyes. That's a whole other thing. Marcellus is actually going to give me a tutorial on Daisenso Goji eyes to get that little orange circle in there. I've done it and I can do it, but it's the bane of my existence, because the eyes are the soul of these kits, and if you screw up the eyes, you could ruin the whole kit.
Absolutely. And Marcellus, again, you in the chat, if you want to explain in the comment section how you do eyes, that'd be more than welcome. But cool thing about this 65 Godzilla kit, like when you get the kit, the imprint of the eyes, like the pupils, they're already in there.
That's
a
big help. That's a huge help. That's a huge help. You just have to fill it in, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
But when you do like a 62 or 64 eye, it's basically just black and like a tannish, like whitish opaque. And sometimes the 64s will come with a pupil, but it's really easy to sort of get those right. When you get those nuances where there's color involved, like an 89 eye is very difficult to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And who the king of eyes for me is Steve Serajoli, who's right now at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, Leslie, you have a kit that was a collaborative effort between myself and Steve.
Yeah, the Gabber, yeah.
And Steve did the eyes. I did most everything else, but Steve is known for doing his eyes. He's got it down to a science, and I think Marcellus does too.
Actually, Greg too. Greg does great eyes too.
Greg does
great eyes. He did great eyes on his -1. And when I get my KOC, I'm going to send the head to Greg to do the eyes for me, because
this would be a great live stream, like supplemental, to have like either Marcellus or Greg or all of them on to actually do live tutorial, like have their camera.
You mean live, like doing it in front of us?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And
Marcellus,
explain the process as they do it. Explain the process as you do it. Maybe not the whole thing, but it's certain aspects of like a section, like a head or eyes, or how to do folds.
We as modelers can each take a component of a kit build. Like Marcellus can do the eyes, or Greg can do the eyes. I can do the filling in the gaps.
Eye challenge.
Eye challenge. Oh my God, I'm going to lose that one.
Eye challenge.
Yeah, thanks, Rich. I'm going to lose that one. But I consider myself pretty proficient when it comes to doing most aspects of a model kit. I love mouths. I can do the mouth pretty damn good. Like I know how to do the color of the gums and the teeth and all that. And newsflash, Godzilla's teeth are not white most of the time. They got other colors in there going on. Yeah. Especially when you look at, because I was talking to Marcellus about this. When you look at the 66 suit, and in the film, his teeth are almost black and gray. They're not white. Mm-hmm. And so when someone does, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's just my preference. I like to be more movie accurate. When someone does bright white teeth on a 66, it doesn't look right to me, because that's not the way it was in the film.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, yes, everybody, it seems like there's a lot of interest in this, and and we'll make a point, Leslie, to get together with these guys. And Marcellus is in the chat, Greg Betters and Steve Serajoli, and we'll do it. We'll do it. I think it's time. I think it's time has come.
It's time. What?
And speaking of,
what else it's time for?
It's time to showcase this.
Let's see this thing. Let's see it.
Again, this is from Galloping Ghost Kaiju Kobo. Again, this is a test print. It is 50 centimeters tall. So it's gigantic size, but the kits will actually be 30 centimeters. But basically what you see here is what you're going to be getting when the kit comes up for pre-order. Because Doc says he wants to do a couple more changes to the kit. I don't think he needs to do any changes. Me and Marcellus agree on that. Like, this is like a great representation, if not an almost perfect representation of the Senso Goji suit. Now, before we show the photographs, matter of fact, could you blow me up? Because right fast, Jonathan, because I got the kit right here.
Happily.
So, and
happily.
I'm curious to see if I would change anything. I'll see if I would change anything.
Now, so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is the newest kit from Galloping Ghost Kaiju Kobo of the awesome Senso Goji Godzilla 1965, aka Monster 01. Here's the kit.
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow.
Jesus Christ, look at that.
Wow.
David, come on, what do you think?
I'm blown away. And again, when you posted those teaser pictures to us in the group, I wasn't aware of the scale. This thing is this is gigantic size. This is like Spiral Legacy size. This is it's amazing. It's beautiful. And it basically, it's great. I love it. It's
incredible.
Jonathan, what do you think, buddy? Godzilla, don't hit me, baby.
Yeah, don't break them.
Okay, first off, that thing is huge. Yes, Helmy, it's gigantic. It's basically, it's bigger than a gigantic. It's crazy. I love the detail on that. Look at the mouth. Look at the dorsals. Look at the texturing on the scales. The tongue, the teeth, the eyes, everything. It's chef's kiss, 100%.
Oh God,
wow.
Godzilla get heavy.
The skin texture really is perfect.
The tongue curls up. It's great.
Represents that suit to a T. I mean, of all of the Godzilla suits, the 65, 66 has very pronounced lines and ribs in his skin, and beautiful. It's beautiful.
All right, Senso, take a bow. Take a bow.
Please do.
Take a bow. Yeah, put him down.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would change anything. I think it's pretty perfect the way it is, and
okay.
I don't.
All right. Let's show these photographs because my arm is numb right now. So.
Good pleasure.
Oh, look at Kyle!
Oh, Kyle's here. Hi, Kyle.
Oh, hey, what's up, Kyle?
Speaking of monster beauty, you're a beauty too, Kyle. I think you're a beauty too.
Oh my God! Look at that! Oh my God! Hold on, let me address one comment before we go into further. Let's see. From Matt Parma, he says, "So, would these be 50 centimeters be available?" I don't think so. I think Doc said it might be problematic to do 50 centimeters, but 30 centimeters for sure. I think he did mention at one time that he may want to try and do 50 centimeters. If he can, get it done in a good way, it won't be too price heavy for him. But for right now, I guess the plan for right now is do 30 centimeters. But if you want a 50 centimeter, it wouldn't hurt to ask him. Just hit up Doc Mac on through Messenger on Facebook, or like I said, contact him through the Galloping Ghost Kaiju Kobo Facebook page. He's not hard to find, and he's very, very easy to talk to. So, all right, so let's go with these pictures. So, what do you think?
I think
wow.
I think it's going to be very popular. I think a lot of people are going to grab one. And again, it's one of those things where if X Plus ain't going to do it, someone's going to do it. Someone did it. We've been waiting on a 65 Daisenso Goji Gigantic for how many years now, Leslie? Many, many, many years since the Gigantics came out.
You've always asked for one.
I've always asked for one, and not to say that it won't happen at some point. It still could happen. I mean, but again, this would have been the year to do it on the anniversary. Just saying, but I wouldn't care if it was next year. I mean, they could do a 66. It's essentially the same thing. But that's a great shot. That's a great shot.
And thank you, Marcellus, again for hooking me up with this. Because again, I got this the sculpt through Doc. Thank you, Doc, for that. But Marcellus was the one. He was like, "Look," because when I told him I was getting it, he was like, "Look, I have to paint this for you. Like, I know you're cool with David. I know you're cool with Greg. I know you're cool with Mark Sang Yang, but I have to be the one to do this for you. And in case you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, the 1965 Godzilla is Marcella's favorite Godzilla. What the 64 is to David, the 65 is to Marcellus. He's like, look, I have to do this for you. So I'm like, okay. And he did it, and it was on display at G-Fest, and I kept it quiet because I wanted to showcase it here on this stream, but it was there at G-Fest, and people were gawking over it, whatever.
The love comes through. His love for this suit comes through in the build for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love it. Like, again,
this thing is quite incredible. Wow.
It's 55 centimeters. Wow. So it's even bigger than 50 centimeters. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, if you we're gonna see the M1 later, but that M1 is like what 20 inches tall, and this Godzilla towers over him just by a little bit. So you might as well say he's like maybe 21 inches tall. Now, the reason why I wanted a big one like this is because I'll pair him up with another monster that we'll see towards the tail end of the slideshow. We'll get more into that. But another reason, because again, y'all know me, I'm big into gigantics, no pun intended. And I, when I had the option to either get a 40 centimeter or a 50, because again, he was doing these test print runs just to gauge people's interest, I was like, let's just go for a big one. And I thought maybe, because sometimes when you do things based off a smaller scope and you expand it bigger, sometimes the details kind of get lost when you either expand it or you shrink it.
That's true. Yes.
But nothing was lost in translation. Like this.
That blows me away. That's the M1. That's the M1 50 centimeter kit. That's damn. Wow.
I think most dudes intimidated slightly.
Yeah. Which is kind of fitting because the 64 transition into the 65 suit. Like you see the natural progression of Godzilla in the Showa series, but
for sure.
But yeah, this is again, Doc, Mac, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. And of course, Marcellus, my ride or die. That's my bro right there. My God, he is so amazing. Monster Profile. That's Mark Sang Yang. He's in the chat. Thank you, Mark, for being here.
What's up, Mark?
What's up, Mark? Haven't seen Mark in a while.
Another great artist.
Yeah, like legit. I am thoroughly blessed between David, Mark, Marcellus. I'm blessed to have these guys as my friends. Like for real.
50 only if he gets enough orders.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you hear that, Matt? If you're really serious about getting one, contact Doc Matt. Contact him.
Oh, just saying.
Just contact him, and you got a plethora of artists that can do it for you. Might even convince David to do it, even though he's way across the country.
Leslie, it's an issue, and I still don't understand how these guys do it. Like, I refuse to build a big resin 50 centimeter kit and ship it. It's too much. I don't want to take the chance of having A, your kit broken, B, my work ruined, C, a waste of money. If there's some way, I know you hand carried this back from G-Fest, right? You did not.
Or
did
he
ship it to you?
No. I got it from G-Fest, and that was one of the reasons why I drove this year, because I knew I was going to be transporting this and some other stuff back.
Okay, so here's the perfect example of why I don't do this, and that's why I do less resin kit. Don't do any resin kits for people in the community, unless it's a KOC. And we've talked about that before. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Wow.
Because I don't know how these get to their destination in one piece. No pun intended. Because it's just, I'm sure Marcellus utilized pins in this, right, to keep those pieces in place. Because there's no way.
Probably.
There's no way that would stay on there. Gravity would just take care of it. But I wish there was a way to do it, because I would love to build these for people, and it's beautiful. But you don't need me. You've got people who are willing to do it, so that's great.
I love the scale. I love how you took pictures up there, and there's the Toho Maniacs, right? Like,
yes.
I love how you have the scale next to everything.
That's not true scale. That's like a forced perspective, because he's probably like way down there. But that's a big ass controller. What's a controller? But no, that's Monster Zero has some pretty funky, cool collectibles, and again, we still think that X Plus may do it. Oh, okay, so here we are.
Yeah.
This is my second 65 that I built. I used to have the kit where that John Ruffin has, the M1 kit, where the Shie kit where he's on the rock on Planet X, but I actually ended up selling it. I'm going to build John's for him because that's a vinyl kit.
Mm-hmm.
But this is my third one building the Billiken. I sold one to someone who loved mine so much. He said, "Hey, I'll send you one. Can I just have the one you built and you just build the other one up for yourself?" So I said yes, and I did. And so I just finished this one. Actually, this morning, I was working on it for a project for a group, a tutorial on building a vinyl kit, and I got almost halfway, but it didn't seem like there was that much interest in the group. Thank you, Matt. So I didn't continue with it, and it just sat on the shelf for a while. But when Leslie approached me the other day if I wanted to do, said, "Oh, I got to finish them up." So last night I banged a lot of it out, and I finished them up this morning. So this is my take on the 65, and as you can see from the movie still, that's pretty spot on.
Not bad.
That's pretty damn close to what the actual suit is. And they even went so far as to give a little bit of that trousery look on there, not too much. That's why I love Billiken kits, because they don't leave out the details that might not be extremely appealing. There's some air holes too, if you look carefully at the model kit, which I really, really appreciate. So to me, before I saw the Galloping Ghost, this one was my quintessential 65 Godzilla kit, but I think it was dethroned in some ways. I still love this one. Don't get me wrong. I love it.
Oh, absolutely.
But the scale, the impressive scale of the other one is just phenomenal. And Jonathan, the next slide is actually the way the kit comes to you. I sent him the instructions. So when you buy a Billiken kit, this is what you get. These are the instructions. So, and again, people who are thinking about trying their hand at a model kit, I think Billiken is a good place to start.
It
Either
is.
Kyoto or Billiken. Kyoto's maybe even better because they're smaller, but this is a really great place to start because there's very little glue needed for this kit. A lot of the pieces fit together without the use of glue. But it's great, and I love it, and I love the way they do the instructions. And yeah, you've definitely made me really kind of consider getting that. I honestly don't have the room for another 50 centimeter. Where did I get it and how much? These kits, the Billikens, you can still find pretty easily. They're between $150 and $200 for a kit. Sometimes less,
which ain't bad.
It was not bad.
No.
And they're light because they're vinyl. And
no pins, good to know.
No pins at all, Marcellus. No pins whatsoever. And it's definitely a good place to start if you're interested. Please don't start with a big resin kit. You'll drive yourself crazy. I had to work myself up to resin kits, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing another version of this kit because again, it's one of my favorites.
Now, David, thank you for showing that off. I love seeing the comparisons there. Now, I do want to go back real quick because we had a question from Tim Bartos while we had just transitioned, and it's a good question. I think, Leslie, you can answer this. Who made and painted the beautiful P1?
That was made by John Brindley. That's actually, I think it's a 3D printed sculpture. And as a matter of fact, he presented it as like a contestant in the models room at G-Fest back in 2022. The G-Fest that we had.
Seeing that.
Yeah, Jonathan was there. It was the G-Fest that we had coming out of the pandemic. Because remember, we were shut down 20 and 2021. And so John had this there. And I remember doing a live stream vlog on our group, the Collect on Monsters, Monster Collectors group. And when I first saw it, because again, when I walked through the room the first time, I didn't really pay attention because I was too busy talking with folks. But when I went the second time and I saw it in the corner, I was like, oh, I hope to God David is watching, because David wasn't there. So I was hoping that he was watching it.
I was.
And ever since I saw it, I was like, I have got to find a way somehow to get that into my collection. Then a couple of years later, John was selling it, and that's how I ended up getting it. And the fact that it's gigantic size and does scale well with the Godzilla. He's about to kill Takarada at the top there, but other than that, but yeah, because I've always wanted a copy of the P1 spaceship. I was hoping that X Plus would put it in the Toho Maniacs line, but again, X Plus has been slacking, so that's why I've been
Yes,
going
they have.
into model kits. Because model kits, again, while it's a more expensive endeavor to get into as far as collecting, I understand that. But model kits cover a wide range of monsters, vehicles, locations
Yep.
that maybe the mainstream companies will or may not touch for whatever reason. So yes, it's a lot more expensive, but the character is there, you know, and that's why I've been going more so into model kits for the past 3 or 4 years at this point. But yes, that's who made the that P1 rocket ship, and he also again he added some flair to it because if you look closely at the top, you know you have Takarada in the ship, and you have
Glenn, yeah.
no, Glenn's in the
Glenn,
ship. Takarada's
yeah.
on the ground.
He's already
planting the
down there.
flag.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, come on.
Yeah. And he also had that little flag in his hand to signify that moment in Monster Zero where he plants a flag on Planet X. So all that is encompassed into this one sculpture of the P1. But I had it, you know, showcase against the Daisensou Goji here
that's beautiful.
to let you know how big it is. Because again, Godzilla himself is 21 inches tall. The P1 is probably roughly around the same height, and they look well together. But I'll show more of that on our group at some point, probably this week. But yes, that's who made the P1 spaceship. And with that being said, let's go towards the final shot because again, one of the main reasons why I wanted to get this kit in a gigantic size scale is because I wanted to recreate this fantasy matchup that we never got, and I'm pissed off that we never got this fight. Now, full disclosure, that right there is a 3D printed custom statue from Marcellus Winters of the Frankenstein monster from Frankenstein Conquers the World or Frankenstein versus Baragon. Now, in case you don't know, there were a couple of movies that were pitched that were actually going to have King Kong versus Frankenstein or Frankenstein-like monster, which evolved into King Kong versus Godzilla. But before we got Mothra versus Godzilla, there was a pitch made for Frankenstein's monster to fight Godzilla, which then evolved into Frankenstein Conquers the World. And while Godzilla in that movie was substituted with Baragon, but I always wished that they would have done this movie. Splice it in between maybe Mothra versus Godzilla and Ghidorah, or at least Ghidorah and Monster Zero. Because again, even though I love Godzilla as a hero, I would have loved to see him in one more movie as a straight up villain. Because obviously, in this case, Frankenstein would be the babyface, right? But I've always wanted to see what would happen if Frankenstein fought Godzilla. And since the movie came out in 1965, why not have the 65 Goji fight Frankenstein? With that being said, David, what do you think about this pitch made of Frankenstein versus Godzilla?
Well, you know me, and most people know that I love Frankenstein versus Baragon, aka Frankenstein Conquers the World. I think they're really smart, imaginative fantasy stories that just are just incredible. So yeah, Leslie was correct. They were Toho and the powers that be were trying to promote the film where Godzilla and Frankenstein actually fight. So the story is, I did a little research on this, and the story that was pitched was similar to the beginning of Frankenstein versus Baragon. You know, the heart grows into Frankenstein. He shows up in Japan, and I think they wanted Frankenstein to be a little bit more malevolent, like he was actually eating people, not just pets and pigs and things. So the military and the authorities, their brilliant idea to destroy Frankenstein was to wake Godzilla up, who I guess was supposed to be frozen at some point. So, oh yeah, because maybe he was still in the iceberg. Maybe that was the time where it was supposed to be before Mothra versus Godzilla, right? So perhaps if that all is true, they wanted to revive Godzilla so he could destroy the Frankenstein monster. So it's like, which one is the real villain? Which one is the real hero? That would have made for an interesting story too, because it's like, is Godzilla defending Japan, or is Godzilla just gonna kill everything, including Frankenstein? So it would have been a really great, interesting story if they would have went with that concept. But you know me, I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen Frankenstein and Destroy All Monsters and the Gargantuas. I think those one-off films that they each starred in just wasn't enough to satisfy me personally, because I think they're great. And it would be cool to see a cunning, thinking human monster, a humanoid, fight the big brute force, which is Godzilla. Um, you know, I think it would be a really good fight. I think it would be pretty, you know, it wouldn't be very evenly matched, because Godzilla could, you know, one good shot with the atomic breath,
And it's
and
over.
Frankenstein's done. But again, he seemed to be immune to Baragon's, but Baragon maybe wasn't as powerful, because he did have some kind of a ray that came out of his mouth. But I would have loved to have seen it. And hey, who knows? Maybe down the line, you know, after we get the sequel to -1, maybe somebody will redo it in some way. But I've always been curious about what if this happened, and
Yes.
it's a shame that it never came to fruition. Having said that, I love Frankenstein versus Baragon, and I love, of course, Mothra versus Godzilla. So we didn't lose
It
any of
worked
it,
out.
but yep, Frankenstein can make traps. Yep, yeah. I mean, there's so many possibilities, but I think the more I think about it, the more unlikely it is, because of the modern sensibilities. Unless they do another period piece,
Right. Yeah.
they go back, because with today's technology, you know, Frankenstein wouldn't last too long. But again, thank you for bringing this scenario back, Leslie, because I think it's a great thing that would have been, and maybe somebody should write a treatment of this. I would love to see this.
You never know.
You never know. You never know. Jonathan,
Jonathan,
how about you?
How about you?
Well, I gotta say, wow, that's a great shot. I love the dynamic shot.
That's a great shot.
I gotta say, before I move on, I gotta let this be known that Galloping Ghost does a really good job of making dynamic poses as well. It's not just your typical stand up straight, you know, sort of propped up.
We
he's
call
hunched
those,
over a little
Jonathan,
bit.
we call those museum poses, just for the record. Right?
What?
Like, just to stand up straight, that's a museum pose.
Yeah, yeah, like a
That's what
statuesque,
we
you know,
refer
yeah.
to. Yeah.
Museum pose. Good. That's a good one. I gotta say, I love the idea. I've always loved the idea. I always feel like Baragon, the addition of Baragon was like a pseudo Godzilla. Like they wanted to create something new and challenge themselves in a new kaiju, but it was also like, well, you know, certain aspects of Baragon, like the ray and everything, have a Godzilla-esque feeling to him. Him kind of like not burrowing through the ground, obviously, but like, and not the kangaroo jump, but like just how he's kind of creeping around. Like it could have been, instead of underground, it's under the water, you know, stuff like that. But I love the idea, and I'm more intrigued mostly about it because of the music. What awesome music would Fukube have given us? If Fukube would have given us some crazy music, I think, for this one. Because when you look at Frankenstein versus Baragon, or
Great
Frankenstein
soundtrack.
Conquers the World, it's an amazing.
Soundtrack.
It's one of the best. And the Terror of Baragon, Baragon's theme is such a great theme and memorable. And then the creepy, sort of brooding, Halloweenish sort of Frankenstein theme is also very powerful and very compelling. And the infusion of both of those to kind of make this epic 4-part battle, you know, cue at the end with Frankenstein versus Baragon is quite incredible. And I think that Fukube would have had a lot of fun composing the score with Godzilla's theme. Which Godzilla theme would it be? Will we get the more like friendlier version, subdued version of that theme? Will we get the more Mothra versus Godzilla, the more sinister, dark version of that theme? You know, it goes in my head. And also Frankenstein would have been the same theme, would have been different, because those films came out at different times. It was different vibe, different feel. It just, like Kyle. Okay, Kyle, wow. This actually, I never considered this, but a soundtrack by Masaru Sato would be fun.
I can see that. I can see that.
If the movie was directed by Jun Fukuda, I could definitely see a Masaru Sato score, because his films evoke a different feeling with the music.
No.
But if it was Shiro Honda, it's got to be Fukube.
We need Fukube, because if you think about the timeline, if it was during the golden age of tokusatsu between 1962 and 1966, like that area, It
Make it
should
funky.
be dark, scary, foreboding, somber. This is not a lighthearted movie because Frankenstein's story is tragic. It's not jazzy. It's tragic. It's and I think what was interesting about the movie for me when I was a kid, I was actually afraid of Frankenstein when I was a kid because of the music. They made his theme made him sound much more malevolent than he actually appeared in the film, like the way he was characterized. That score is very scary. It's very dark.
I agree.
And
But
I don't think I love a Sato jazzy score, but we're not on an island surfing, kind of doing that thing. We're like, this is some serious shit. This goes back to the nuclear, because this is when they were focusing on atomic energy radiation, because that's how Frankenstein and Godzilla were both formed, if you think about it. So
true.
a light-hearted, jazzy, fun score for me would not have been the way to go.
I can see that too.
I do see what you're saying 100%, but I will devil's advocate that on the flip side for Kyle. It is interesting when this film would have come out. It could have been like, let's say, would Frankenstein still have the same meaning? Would it have the same story? We don't know. Would it be as dark? Would he be as tragic? So it's interesting to think of the possibilities of tonally what the film would have represented. Would it have been dark? Would it have been fun? Would they have?
Yes.
Because when you think about Invasion of Astro Monster, we're talking about that, and Monster Zero, it's a more lighthearted. It's serious, but it's also lighthearted and entertaining, and they know it.
It's a good mix.
Sans
That's why we love
the
it.
dance
It's
and
a
everything.
mix of both.
So what if this movie invoked the same feeling? Like it would still. I think it would still be Fukube,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think the idea of Masaru Sato is a very interesting one to conceptualize.
Yes.
100%.
But Jonathan,
But we're not talking about that. I'm just basically saying
the Gargantua is a dark film too. That's a very serious dark film, and Frankenstein is part of that. That's part of it.
But like you said, David, I'm not trying to convince. I'm just giving you my take.
You're devil's
advocate.
And
I see your take. But what do you think, Les?
Yeah, what do you think? You break this tie. What do you think?
Mr. Question, Mr. Asking this difficult question.
Exactly. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Honestly, you know what? If this was the real plan, if they went ahead with this film and not had Baragon, which would have been a travesty, quite frankly.
Oh, Kyle asked that question, not Leslie. So there we go.
I kind of I still think that Sato could do a good score, because again, the Mechagodzilla score is so different. I kind of feel like Sato would have been capable enough to do a suitable score for this film, but I got to go with Ifukube on this one. I think Ifukube, because I prefer this movie not to be lighthearted. I prefer them to have Godzilla still as a villain, or at least as a force that they know is threatening, but they don't really have a choice because they have never dealt with Frankenstein before. So it's like, okay, it's like we got to wake up a devil to deal with another devil, and it's like it would have been very interesting because you don't know what's going to happen. It's like basically throwing a grenade in the middle of your living room and hoping for the best things to happen, and it's not going to happen. Yeah. So I think Ifukube score would have fit the tone. And honestly, you know what? In regards like who will win, I will probably have neither win. I think when I read on Toho Kingdom is that they will fight, and like basically what happens in Baragon, like an earthquake swallows up Frankenstein, but like a tsunami drags Godzilla out the ocean where you don't get a definitive winner. I would been fine with that.
I think that's the way to go. Yeah. And both of these creatures are born of atomic energy, man's misuse of atomic energy. So that to me does not translate to lighthearted and a definitive winner. And a definitive winner, because man should be the loser here, and the monster should probably, like Leslie said, they should probably be sort of like, did they survive? Maybe they didn't. And that also leaves it open if the film did well to another sequel.
Absolutely.
So I agree with all of that, and I think that we missed out because it would have been great. It would have been absolutely phenomenal.
That would have been a great score.
It would have been.
I think about the possibilities. It would have been great.
It would have been, but then again, based on what we got out of it with the Frankenstein versus King Kong and Frankenstein versus Godzilla, we still end up getting King Kong versus Godzilla, Mothra versus Godzilla, and Frankenstein conquers the world out of all of those.
And War of the Gargantuas.
And War of the Gargantuas. So
We all won.
We all won in the long run, but still, at the end of the day, it would have been interesting to see what would happen if the Toho Frankenstein fought the King of the Monsters here. But again, that's going to be my display moving forward. So if you ever come to my house, that's what you're going to see: Frankenstein and Godzilla going up against each other. And with all that being said, do you see all that vein work on Frankenstein neck and the pick? Next level. I'm not going to. Yeah, right there, because I ain't trying to be demonetized. But yes, that's all that is from Marcellus. Marcellus did all that work. He even put all the taco meat chest hair on Frankenstein and all that mess, you know. But yeah, that's great work. Again, both these works are from Marcellus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so again, that's what you're in for, along with David Dopko. He does great work too, and all that good stuff. But
thank you.
But with that being said, that is pretty much going to conclude this stream. And again, I want to thank David Dopko and Jonathan Portman and everybody here in the chat for sharing this moment with me. You know what I'm saying? Especially now.
What about our collectibles? Are we going to show those?
Oh yeah.
Come on now, Leslie.
Yeah. My fault.
I didn't get them out for nothing.
Okay, my fault.
I totally blanked.
Okay. To not have Godzilla have the full shine here, we're also going to showcase, at least David and Jonathan going to showcase a couple more collectibles celebrating the Daisenso Goji, because again, at some point, we're going to deep dive into that discussion on a supplemental stream. So with that being said, what collectibles do you want to showcase, David?
All right. So first of all, this is something that Marcellus and I have been talking about, and Marcellus just picked this kit up at G-Fest. And although it's not Daisenso Goji, it's the same suit.
Technically,
so
it is.
I'm going to showcase my Monster Maker 28 Godzilla 1966. And because it is the same suit. I absolutely love this kit. It's pretty spot on for the likeness. It gives that little, as we talked about, the little sort of trousery look,
baggy look. Yep.
And you know, this is one that can sort of, it's not as, this sculpt isn't as beat up as some scenes he looks in the movie, so it can kind of fill in as a Daisenso Goji too. But again, I absolutely love this, and Monster Maker 28 rocks, and I want to see more from them. So keeping with the model kit.
Favorite sculptors line. I'm hoping.
Yes. Someone else said that. Yes. Favorite sculptors line. X Plus, are you listening? Please stop re-releasing things that you've already put out there. We need new stuff. Thank you. All right. Speaking of X Plus, gonna give them a little bit of love. This is the 25 centimeter X Plus Daisenso Goji.
Awesome.
And again, I did a little paint work on him, and I closed the mouth a little bit of touch up things. So I wanted to make him look a little more menacing, a little bit more realistic. So again, fantastic release by X Plus. And if you're listening, we're still waiting for a gigantic 65. That would be great. Maybe the little accessory, the Rick version, instead of glow in the dark dorsal plates, we'll have a little P1. How cool would that be?
We need Rodan too. Okay,
so if it's a gigantic, we'll get a Rodan and a P1. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. All right. And then let's see. Last but not least, this is Bandai is knocking it out of the park these days. I wish this was around when I was a little bit first starting out.
Yeah.
Leslie's even got one of these. It's just a fantastic, and he comes off his little rock base,
That's
his little
so
Planet X rock base. It's affordable, it's fun, it's accessible, it's amazing. They're putting out one where a museum pose. Now we're going to use that term a lot, where he's just kind of, the 65 is just kind of standing there. But yeah, Rich, it's a great figure and long overdue. And did I say X Plus? I meant to say Bandai. Sorry.
No, you said Bandai. You good?
Did I? Good. Bandai is again. That's where I started back in my collecting journey in the late '80s with Bandai, and I'm glad to see that they kind of ebb and flow with the quality and the things that they release. But this is great. I can't wait to see what they do next. Yeah. So those are my three that I wanted to showcase, and I don't have to show you the model kit because you saw the pictures of it. But Jonathan, what are you going to show us? And I'm keeping it with the theme of model kits and realistic, so we're not going to delve into Sofubi for me. So there we go.
Well, I'm going to show off a a variance of a couple things. The first one I'm going to show off is courtesy of Waxwork Records. Of course, this is comes to no surprise to anyone that I'm showing this, but I'm going to. It is the Invasion of Astro Monster Godzilla versus Monster Zero vinyl record with the packaging. This thing is absolutely incredible. Look at that artwork by Robert Semelin.
It's great.
I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Forgive me if I'm not, but beautiful artwork. This artwork, by the way, the entire collection, the entire Showa collection, excuse me, comes in the same aesthetic, and they're all exact to every film, artfully curated to every film, and the artwork is incredible. Look at just the way everyone looks. Everything is in here. You got the P1, you got the UFOs, you got Rodan and the bubble, as well as Godzilla, and you got Ghidorah up there.
The door looks awesome.
And the back too. The back too is really cool with the color.
I love the back, yeah.
With the purple, the simplistic P1 rocketing off. And we have the track lists here.
Damn, obviously. I love this movie. I love this movie so much.
Me too. Me too. Makes me want to watch it right after.
One thing I will show that I didn't show last time. The beautiful color of the vinyl itself. The vinyl.
That's awesome.
The purple splash on the vinyl.
That's
absolutely
awesome.
Wonderful. Can't beat this set. I gotta say, it's definitely worth the money. That's my first one. Second one is the nostalgia pull from back in the 90s at a great place I used to frequent called Sunk Coast Video Company.
Yes,
and we all know what I'm going to show.
Yes.
The wonderfully, colorfully, beautifully, slightly inaccurate Godzilla versus Monster Zero VHS cover.
Yes.
That's great.
Totally ignore the Rodan referencing here, but we have everything pretty much here that we want, right? We have Godzilla.
Hey,
it's a great play on the poster, right? It's a great play on the promo image that I love. You got Nabikawa, you have Controller over here somewhere, and you have Rodan here. You also have
at least he made that cover.
You have
Rodan made that cover.
Rodan made the cover in more ways than one.
Yes.
You're like, oh no, it's Rodan, but not like the scary one, more of like the friendlier, derpier kind. But yeah, absolutely love this VHS. Grew up on this, had it, and I love everything about it. Love the colors. Paramount Gateway came out with some really goated, as the kids say now. This to me, VHS artwork is a lost art form because this predates all your Mondo posters that would eventually become a thing,
That's
and your
true.
packaging for your Sofubi, and your packaging for DVDs and your steel books and all that cool artwork. It all started with VHS, my friend.
You ain't lying.
With the true home media back in the day. Love this.
I thought you were going to show the one that was at Blockbuster, Godzilla versus Monster Zero, where Rodan is missing. It's just Godzilla and Ghidorah on Planet X. Remember that one?
Oh, no.
That's the one that
I do have that one, I believe.
We all kept taking that out of Blockbuster, and we never returned it. Yeah, that's one of those things.
Yeah, I agree, Ray. The VHS artwork sucks all of us in. I mean, if it had, it's like you go to a bookstore and you see a great cover, even if the book even if it stinks or you don't even know what it's about, if it had a cool cover, it could rope you in very easily. Same thing with these. I see the Godzilla covers, and I already knew I love Godzilla. I was like, oh my god, I need that. I need it. The variants are great too. All the artwork really hits a nostalgic factor for sure, Kyle, 100%. The last thing I will show off is a beautiful piece that I was sort of teased, and we were all sort of teased with his beautiful tattoo artwork. You all know probably what I'm going to be showing here. The Godzilla UFO.
Yes.
Courtesy of Octil and Mondo. This is the D-Con exclusive that I got. That came out a year ago, I believe. And maybe it was 2 years ago. I don't know. Time is inconsequential now to me. Ever since the pandemic, I can't tell which year is what. But I love the blue and silver and black spray on this, the colorway here with the UFO. Of course, the wonderful Mondo logo here. And I just love what Octil has presented to us in these variant figures. And I mean, last winter, yeah. And I just absolutely love this thing. It's chef's kiss. It's beautiful. Octeal, wonderful. Mondo, wonderful. The concept design by Octeal, of course. The sculpt by Brandon Leon. Paint by Octeal. Packaging art by Octeal. And the packaging design by Jordan Christensen. And photography that was done for this that you can see on Mondo's site by Raul Barrero. Beautiful figure.
Nice work.
And those are my 3 items. So Leslie, without further ado, what say you, my friend?
What's she going to show us?
Shoot. I had to show this guy again. Again.
Never get too old, yeah.
Yeah, I have the Billiken that David, showcased. I have the S Plus that David showcased. Again, it's David showed the 66, so I gotta mention the Favorite Sculptors line ever set with the Godzilla. That was an awesome figure, and of course the Bandai, that's awesome. Even the Mondo, with the saucer. Even though Sufubi is not my thing, I have to admit that was really a cool concept. And has Octeal announced? Is he doing Rodan? Is he doing Rodan?
I haven't heard that.
I believe it's a Ghidra. I don't quote me on that.
Right.
But I think it's a play on a Ghidra.
Because honestly, you know what? And I know we're talking about Godzilla, but I do feel like Rodan gets lost in the shuffle when it comes to Monster Zero. We talk about the new suit of Godzilla. We talk about how improved Ghidorah looks special effects wise. But Rodan kind of like gets lost in all of that. And again, it's the same suit from Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, but they did modify it. Like Mechagodzilla 74 is modified in 75. It's the same thing with Rodan. But I feel like Rodan doesn't get enough love when it comes to Monster Zero. So hopefully we'll get more collectibles involving him. But yeah, as far as like my favorite Daisenso Goji collectible 65, hands down. It's this right here. And again, I want to thank Marcellus Winters for painting this up for me. Because again, like I said, he demanded that he do this for me. Like if Ifukube demanded that he do the score of Destroyer, because he didn't do Space Godzilla. But when they announced Destroyer and they announced that they were going to kill Godzilla and they were going to make it the final film at that time, I guess, from what I understand, Ifukube was like, I'm doing this movie. I'm doing the score for this movie. That's how Marcellus was with me with his kids. Like, look, I got to do it. I got to do this. And he did a great job. And I got so many works from Marcellus over the years. Like I said, the Galloping Ghost, Anguirus Final Wars, the Rodan Final Wars, the 72 Ghidorah right here, the Gigantic 84 that's back there, that's his work. And it's like each time I get a new work, I always say it's his best. Or the Frankenstein, like I love the Frankenstein, but yeah, this is dare say his best work in my opinion, because he put his heart and soul in the fact that it's his favorite Godzilla, that he put that little extra in there. So again, for all those people who want this kit, and again, it will be coming up for pre-order. I don't know when, but I would venture to guess before the year is out. But just hit up Dot Mac on Facebook, hit up Galloping Ghost Kaiju Kobo, and say, I want this kit. I want this kit of the Galloping Ghost, Daisenso Goji, and he will hook you up. And if you can't build and paint it yourself, you got Marcellus, you got Greg Betters, you got Mark Sang-Gang. If you can convince David to do it for a slight fee, I'm sure, it might be hard to ship it, but if you ship it in pieces, I'm sure there's a ways to get around it. But still, I want to include David because his artistry is amazing. And I'm sure,
thank you, Leslie.
Just like Monster Zero is his favorite film, I'm sure, like Marcellus, he would put a bang-up job on a 65 here. So you got plenty of options on your hands if you want to go after this kit. But I highly suggest go after this kit. Again, this is a one-off, but basically what you see here is what you're going to be seeing when you get the kit in your hand when it comes up for pre-order. So I want to thank Dot Mac and the fine folks from Galloping Ghost Kaiju Kobo for making this happen. And again, the stuff he got coming, oh my God. Again, a certain Okinawan god, a 30-centimeter Okinawan god is coming. So, but I'll talk more about that when the time comes, and I will definitely showcase it, or at least talk about it on a future episode of Collect All Monsters. And with that being said, now we can finally end this stream. And again, I want to thank David Dopko and Jonathan Portman for coming through for me. I really do appreciate it, as well as everybody in the chat. Again, we're kicking off, some great kaiju content, because, for the next few weeks, it's going to be very kaiju-centric in our fandom. Again, you got the Toho presence and San Diego Comic-Con. Wonderfest is happening tonight at the time of this recording. Probably next 2 or 3 hours. I would jump on Facebook, jump on the Collect All Monster Collectors Facebook group, or the Kaiju Kids group, or the X Plus group.
See what
I'm
we're
sure
gonna get.
and see what we're going to get in terms of X Plus model kits, whatever. All that is going down tonight. Jonathan, let's go to that first slide with Kaiju Live. Next Saturday on August 2nd, Kaiju Live returns. They have been doing shows on Sunday. But only AJ's dad Frank has been doing, like, the sales shows. But AJ is coming back, and he's finally gonna bring back Kaiju Live, where they do the sales, the topics, the fun moments, all that is going down. Finally makes it return. Kaiju Live, the full show, next Saturday, August 2nd, at 9 p.m. So please check that out. Maybe you can get some good sales. And the following week, August 9th, our great friend of the show and personal great friend of ours, Mr. Fresh Vinyl himself, Richard Eso, is coming back with Fresh Vinyl Live. Yes, it's been gone for a minute, but now he's coming back, just like Kaiju's Live. So, wow, the returns of Kaiju Live and Fresh Vinyl Live all within a 2-week span. It is awesome. Excellent. The topics is to be determined. Some shots may be taken to X Plus North America. I'm just saying. Rich.
All is fair game with Rich.
Some discussion on Mothra versus Godzilla. I think I can deal with that, man. I think that's something. Well, I'm available for that. That's something that I
the quintessential Godzilla film. I'm stealing that from you, David. The quintessential Godzilla film.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. And it's what a great way to come back with that film discussion.
Absolutely. And again, cursing involved, ladies and gentlemen. It's an adult show, but if you've seen the Fresh Vinyl Lives in the past, they have been fun. They have been very interactive, like Rich and the Talking Heads. They bring you into the experience, and it's an absolutely fun time. I can't wait to see him finally come back with that awesome show of Fresh Vinyl Live on August 9th. And then, if that's still not enough, the following week, August 16th, yes, the fine folks here at Collect All Monsters are going to give you our August monthly episode. And David, let's blow David up right fast. David, do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
Showcase that book right fast for me, please.
We've been talking about this for a long time, and we're finally going to do an episode about books. And, I'm not going to say anything more than this is just amazing. It is one of the quintessential English language Godzilla books available to us. It's beautiful. I think Jonathan has it. Leslie has it too. Yep. It's amazing. Jonathan, you got yours handy too. You can show yours, and
mine's at work because
it's at work because the book. That's what's happening.
Well, it's funny. I put it there because I wanted to be able to read it when I'm on my breaks and stuff while in the office. I wanted to be there so I could have some comfort reading material. So it's there.
It's got a few surprises in here too.
You ain't lying.
It's a lot of surprises in there, and it's very, very.
It's a great book.
It's going to take a long time to get through this book, but yeah, it's definitely going to be discussed in detail at our next show, which will give us probably just enough time to read it cover to cover, and we're going to talk about some other books too. I'm sure John Ruffin is going to be very excited about that because he is our current kaiju librarian of the group, and Professor Ruffin is going to be stoked. So anyway, it's very heavy. I'm going to put it down. It's hurting my hands. It's well worth the price. It's well worth the price. And again, I think it's in your best interest to pick one up sooner than later because in the aftermarket, they're just going to be crazy. Sean Lincolnback's book, poster book, is now going for hundreds of dollars, and it's very, very. You don't want to miss this one, folks. You don't want to miss it.
So please go to Barnes & Noble right now. If you missed out on a pre-order, or if you don't want to go through the hassle of going through Amazon, which is still not bad, get in your car right now with this stream. Hit up your Barnes & Noble because that's where I got mine. So,
and if you want signed copies, I believe Sean Lincolnback at Showcase Collectibles actually. Daikaiju Collectible. I can never remember what it's called now. Sean Lincolnback's site or web store has some signed copies. I think
absolutely.
which I think would be great.
And again, like what David said, our next episode is going to be dedicated to books, and it doesn't really pertain to just information books like that. You know, you got the Toho special effects books with all the pictures. You got the movie completion books. You know, you got books on Eiji Tsuburaya and what he did. You know, that they showcased last month on the last show. There's so many books that to talk about. Obviously, we can't talk about every single one of them, but we're going to show our love for books because they're collectibles too. They may not be figures, but they still are worthy of your collection, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about come next episode. I think Kyle called it Kaiju Libraries, which is a fun title.
I love it.
100%.
Yeah. So, but with that being said, again, I want to implore everybody to get this awesome kit. Get the guy who turned 60 and get the book, but get this kit. Hit up
and get the score.
Yeah, for Mondo, get the score. So we're in full salesman mode right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Get the book and the score.
Absolutely.
There you go.
But again,
takes all the boxes.
Yeah. But again, hit up Mac, go to the Galloping Ghost Kaiju Kobo website or Facebook page, I should say, and express interest of getting this kit. In my opinion, like David would say, the quintessential 1965 Godzilla, aka Daisenso Goji, aka Monster 01, and look for awesome and new things coming from Galloping Ghost Kaiji Kobo. Again, thank you to Mac and thank you to Marcellus Winters. I love y'all. I really do appreciate it. And I love you, David and Jonathan, too, for being here with me with this moment. I couldn't have done it. I didn't want to do it without you. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. So again, ladies and gentlemen, Wonderfest is going down in a couple of hours. They stay tuned to the Collect All Monsters Collectors Facebook group for, I'm sure, images and what's going to be going down and released or what's coming from Wonderfest. So please check that out. Again, Kaiju Live is next weekend. The following weekend is Fresh Vinyl Live. And the following weekend is our monthly episode of Collect All Monsters with Kaiju Libraries. So again, thank you to David, thank you to Jonathan, thank you to everybody in the chat. We'll do appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next Collect All Monsters episode. Now, until next time, our shit. Oh,
our planet is doomed.
Oh God. I'm sorry. Okay. Our planet may be doomed. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Kyle, don't kick me off. I'm sorry. Okay. Our planet may be doomed. Our Earth devastated. The monsters are in revolt and civilization is in chaos. We must unite and collect all monsters. Bye-bye. Woohoo! Yeah. Thank you so much.